I would like to ask you a few questions as it relates to Medi-Cal planning. Can you tell me one of the toughest cases that you've dealt with in terms of family structure? And I'm sure that some of these questions plays into the kids being involved, people not getting along, or finances, kind of go down that line. What are some of the difficult cases, without mentioning names, that you may have handled?
Well, I think the hardest cases that I've had to deal with is the kids, exactly, not getting along and figuring out the finances. You have to have somebody in charge of the finances. Who's going to handle the money portion? When you have kids disagreeing, no, mom wanted this, no, dad wanted this, no, we should do this, no, we should do that. That's why you need to have a trust or a will or something in place. When I get involved with Medi-Cal and there's money available, you've got kids arguing back and forth. No, mom didn't want this and mom didn't want that. That's what's difficult. And then Medi-Cal is trying to get in place. You have kids arguing. That's the hardest part. So Medi-Cal cannot be in place when they're over the property limit, because Medi-Cal has property limits, as you know.
That's right. Well, I've found that to be the case many times, and there are times where we do have documents made up for our clients. We have the power of attorney, we have the advance directive, and if the client or the soon-to-be Medi-Cal recipient has capacity, there could be a change of heart and a change of mind right there.
Right.
And all of a sudden, these children that you may have trusted and you were going to entrust your finances to turn out not to be so trustworthy.
Right.
You've had that experience as well.
Yes.
And there are times that I sit down and I meet with the client, with both spouses, if there's still another spouse living. There are times that I meet separately with the children so that they understand. But there's always difficulty and with these issues sometimes because, all families aren't the same. Dynamics are completely different in different families. And I know that the hardest thing is to try to educate people in a very short period of time. Have you had that experience?
Yes. And another experience that I have is because I meet families at their homes. I give them a list of things that Medi-Cal requires. It's not my list, it's Medi-Cal's list of things that they require. And I'll meet them at their home, and they don't have things in order. Not just getting their ducks in a row, but they're simple things like ID, Social Security card, Medicare card, things like that. And there are no files in order. We're having to go through things. So it's like, okay, teach your children and elderly to get files in order. So if something happens, you have access to it.
You're absolutely right. In that same vein, when it comes to the advance directive, I make several copies of those, and I tell the clients, you always keep one in your glove compartment box. And the reason for that is if you're in an automobile accident, the first responders will transport these documents with you to the hospital. The person that's appointed as your agent or attorney-in-fact should have a copy. Your doctor should have a copy in his file. Something else that come up that's kind of a sideline, but sometimes pretty important. I do have clients that travel internationally. And what I have been doing is having them go to their medical providers, taking a flash drive, and downloading their medical records, because if they're in Asia or if they're in Europe, the physicians will have immediate access to their records should they ever be in a tough medical circumstance. Now, sometimes things work out pretty well on the other side of things, isn't that true?
Yeah.
In terms of the average stay in a nursing home, I've heard that the average stay is between 18 months to 3 years. Does that sound correct to you?
Yeah, it can be. And it can be, depends on if they're just there for physical therapy, or it can be if it's an end of a life type of thing. It can be, that length of time.
Right.
It can be if this is where they're going to spend the rest of their life.